Hi, seventh grade. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be working with a question that I created and I'm also going to be answering to model or to show you my own thought process of how to write a CEE, and so you know what my expectation is, and also so that you can come back to this video and review what is it that I expect. The sources that we're going to be using today, you saw already. This is a source from the break. It's comparing and contrasting Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And then the second source is a video that you also saw parts of it. Okay, so this is a CEE. So what I've noticed is that some students have an answer that looks like this, and that's their claim, evidence, explanation. Okay, just by looking at that, we can tell that wouldn't be enough. Okay, so here's what I expect. Um, the first thing you should do is, at least in my personal opinion, I think that you should preview the prompt first, right? Preview what the question is asking, um, and then go into the sources and annotate the sources and attack the sources. I think that it's okay if you preview the sources to begin with, go to the question, and then go in depth into the sources. I've already gone in depth with the sources with you guys, so right now I'm gonna just focus on the question right now. Okay, so here's this is the question, the task that you're gonna be working on. In a high school history class, students are having a discussion. A student makes the claim that Christianity and Islam are more similar than different, sorry. So I'll read that again. A student makes the claim that Christianity and Islam are more similar than different. Do you agree with this claim? Support your answer with at least two pieces of relevant evidence from different sources. Elaborate how your evidence supports your claim. Remember to cite your source by name or number. So your task is um, either do you agree or disagree with this person? Okay, so this is going to be your task. Do you agree with this claim? Support your answer with at least two pieces of relevant evidence from different sources. Elaborate, cite your source. Okay, so when I was doing this, actually I had to do this multiple times because I had to go back and try to figure out my own thought process. So when you write, it's not a one-time deal, right? You can't just write your answer down one time and then expect it to be the final product. You have to go back and constantly rearrange things and maybe even find different evidence because evidence that you're using might not work. And I had to do that multiple times. So the question is steps. What is it asking me to do? So this is asking me to take a side. Do you agree with this person? Do you agree that they're more similar than different? Right? How many pieces of evidence is it asking me to produce? Here it says at least two pieces of evidence, but it's not just two pieces of evidence. They have to come from different sources. So here I'm going to have to use both sources, not just one. Okay, so this is two from different sources. And then do I have to use more than one source? The answer is yes, because it does say more than one source. Okay, so here I'm going to take a side. Write in the third person. Do, don't say I agree with this person or I disagree with this person. Okay. Examples of third person are he, she, it's they, him, and so forth. Okay. This is just repetitive again. I need at least two pieces of evidence from different sources. I got that. I need to explain how each piece of evidence supports my argument or my claim. And this is what I've noticed that a lot of students do. A lot of students will simply say, for their explanation, say this proves that they are more different than similar, and that doesn't work. Okay, you actually have to elaborate how they're more different than similar or more similar than different. Okay, so this is how I'm going to be tackling this question. Okay, so you'll see that I don't put I agree or I disagree. I keep myself out of this. It's a neutral tone. So here's my going to be my claim. It says Christianity and Islam are more different than similar because of the role of Jesus. So I am actually disagreeing with this student. The student is saying that they are more similar than different. Now, I don't know why this person will say that they're more similar than different. That's not the point. The point is that I disagree with them. So this is my claim, right? And some of us, this is what we usually, this is where we end our claim. But you should have a reason because of the role of Jesus. Okay, this is what a lot of us are missing. And so I'm trying to prove that because of the role of Jesus, these two religions are more different than similar. Okay, so that is going to be my claim. That's my claim. Okay, and then I'm going to have some context. I'm going to do context in a different color. In context, it has to do with telling the reader something about these two religions, some background information. Uh, And so one thing that I've noticed is students say, well, I don't know anything about these, whatever I'm writing about. Well, that's what the sources are for. You should be able to get some context of some information from the sources. Okay, Christianity, this is my context. Christianity and Islam are the two largest monotheistic religions in the world. Almost half of the world's population belongs to either Christianity or Islam. The teachings of Christianity can be found in the Bible. Teachings of Islam can be found in the Quran. Both religions trace their monotheistic beliefs to the prophet Abraham. Okay, uh, and here I'm going to be, so this is my context. Now I'm going to kind of talk about the opposing view here. Okay, although they have similarities, such as tracing their monotheistic beliefs back to Abraham and the fact that both religions value the role of Jesus, both religions differ greatly on their view of Jesus. Okay, so here I'm going to restate my claim. This view of Jesus makes the religions more different than similar. Have I proven anything here? No, I haven't proven anything. I haven't given you any evidence. I've just given you a claim and I've given you some context. That's all I've done. I haven't proven anything yet. And sometimes this is what some students do. They just give me this and expect me to say this is it. There's no evidence here, right? This will be a zero because you do have a claim, but you didn't prove why they're more different than similar or more similar than different. Okay, I'm gonna erase that. And then I'm going to jump into my evidence. According to the charts. So here you can cite the source. You can say source one, or you can just tell me the name of the chart. So I'm gonna just say chart in this case, okay? According to the charts, in Christianity, Jesus is the second person of the Trinity and born of the Virgin Mary. True God from true God. So according to the source, Jesus is God in a human form. And then you see, in order for me to compare and contrast, I can't fully explain this evidence now. This evidence doesn't prove that it's different than Islam because I haven't talked about Islam yet. So here I'm going to talk about Islam. And then I'm going to try to explain these. Usually we try to explain an evidence right after we introduce it. But in this case, I can't, right? I could talk about what this means, but I have to be able to introduce Islam as well. In the same source, in Islam, Jesus was a prophet. I think I made a mistake here. Here, I need a quote. I forgot to include my quotes. Jesus was a prophet sent by Allah and born to the Virgin Mary, but not divine in the Quran. I have another evidence. In the video, it also states. So here's why I have my video. So I have my first evidence, two, and then I have three pieces of evidence here. This is a pretty densely packed paragraph. In the video, it also states Muslims are clear in the belief that Jesus is not God himself. This is another piece of evidence. Usually, I will push back on students when they do evidence, 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 and explanation. But in this case, I have to do it this way. I mean, if you can find a way to make it work, that's fine. But right now, I'm trying to collect evidence and compare and contrast how this makes them different. Here I'm gonna have a different color. I'm gonna pick a different one. Okay, here's my explanation. The difference here is immense. Immense means large. In Christianity, Jesus is considered the Son of God, God Himself. While in Islam, Jesus is an important figure, but not to the level of deity or God. Christianity is based on the very concept of Jesus' holiness. The religion will not exist without Jesus. In Islam, there's only one God, a God that selected Jesus as a prophet. Islam and Christianity are more different and similar. You see how here I decided to rewrite my claim. That's always a good idea to rewrite your claim. You're restating your claim, right? Here's my evidence. I restate my claim. Okay. In the same source, here I made a mistake, right? Because because here I have two. I have how many sources do I have here? I have two sources. So when I say in the same source, I have to be more specific because the reader doesn't know what source I'm talking about. In the same source, we can also see how the role of Jesus is different. This source is actually from this one, source one. So I'm going to say in source one. I'm going to just change it on the spot. In source one, we can also see how the role of Jesus is different. For Christians, the mission of Jesus was to reconcile man to God through his death as a sacrifice for the sins of all the mankind. While in Islam, Jesus was sent by God to proclaim the Injil or gospel. The gospel is the Bible or the message. This gospel has been corrupted over time by human additions and alterations. As we can see here, Jesus is viewed completely different by both religions. In Christianity, Jesus died to pay for the sins of the world, while in Islam, he was a messenger of God. I think I could have done a better job explaining or elaborating more. Okay? Although Islam and Christianity are similar, their views on the role of Jesus are too great. Both Islam and Christianity are more different than similar. Here, I included my claim again. Sorry. Okay. So I'm gonna make some outline here. So there's my claim. Oh no, there's my claim with reason. Okay. There's my context. So I have that. I have that. Do I have two sources or two pieces of evidence? Sorry. I do. Right. Did I cite two sources? Do I have two sources? I do. Now, I think I could have done a better job at at introducing my sources. Usually, how I want things, and the ELA teacher usually does too, is you have a evidence, and then you have the explanation. Okay, usually that's the way it works. But in this case, I did evidence of Christianity, evidence of Islam, and then I explained it. In this case, this works too, because I am comparing and contrasting two different ideas or concepts. Okay? Um, this is what I expect, right? This is what I expect when you are writing. I expect um, that you read the prompts, that you understand what the prompt is asking, that you find the best evidence. Sometimes we think that all evidence are created equal, and that's not true, right? You have to go into the prompts. I'm not the prompt, the sources, and find the best evidence. Um, And sometimes you might think that you have the best evidence and you start working with it and you try to explain it, it doesn't work, right? You're like, I don't know how to prove this. You're trying to prove a point here. I'm trying to prove that this student is wrong. That, like, it's hard for me to prove that he's wrong because I don't know what evidence he's using or she's using. But in this case, I don't know what they're using, so I'm gonna just go with what I have. And what I have is that Muslims and Christians are similar. They do have some similarities, but their idea of Jesus makes them their ideas their belief in Jesus or the ideas of Jesus are too deep to make them similar, right? Christianity is based on it revolves around the idea that Jesus is holy, that Jesus is the Son of God, right? Um, and in Islam, Jesus is an important person, but it's not revolved around Jesus necessarily, right? It's revolved around the one God, and in Christianity, it's revolved around Jesus, the Son of God. So that's what I was trying to prove. Could I do a better job with this? I think I could, right? Uh, but that's not the point in this case. The point is for you to understand what is the process that I use. It took me This piece of writing took me about an hour to do. It takes a long time because you are tackling multiple sources. You are writing your claim. You are going back to your evidence. You are going back to your claim if you need to rewrite it, right? Um, so this is what I will be expecting you to work with. Please watch this video as many times as you want. I strongly suggest that you do a checklist because it does help a lot. Go back and look at your checklist. Go look at the prompt. I'm going to erase some of this stuff. Um, I understand that the hardest part is the explanation. Okay, I understand that. So here, do you agree with this claim? I did that. I disagree with it. I do have two pieces of evidence. I think they're relevant. They are from different sources. I did elaborate. I did make a mistake with the source by number because here I didn't do that in the same source. I can't say in the same source here because I talked about two sources here, and the author wouldn't know what source I'm talking about here. So I went back and fixed that in source one. Source one is the chart. Okay, this is going to be Monday's work. On Tuesday, I'm going to be giving you guys some sources, and then you're going to start working on a constructed response on your own. Okay, and I expect that you constantly come back to this video. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.